Apparently, my microphone has been changed on my StreamYard. It was just working right before I went live, but now we are live here on the Inside Berm podcast. I am your host, Jake Keel, coming to you live from the Spinebuster studio here in Oklahoma City, and very excited, very excited to get started this week. It's been a crazy week. It's been a great week of racing. We've got a lot to talk about. We're to the point where we are closing in on starting the season here at Southern Oklahoma Speedway, where you'll be able to find me this season. And there's a lot of really big things going on. Red Dirt Raceway is on this weekend. In fact, let me go get their poster real quick while I'm talking here about our sponsors. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of really crazy things happening in motorsports right now, in dirt track racing right now. We'll talk a little bit about what's happening with the ASCS, which is a developing situation. In fact, I've been checking my sources all day to see if anything has developed from there. The NASCAR series race, the Atlanta NASCAR race was one of the best races I've seen in a long time. We'll be talking a little bit about that. Just a whole lot of great things going on in racing. We'll dive into them. And as always, if you have something you would like me to talk about, comment. Let's see what comments we can get today, and see what you all are thinking at home and what you'd like to hear me talk about today. Breaking news, iRacing just dropped the Dirt Micro Sprint car. I believe we're going to be getting Millbridge on there, and I believe I know the Micro Sprint is free. I'm not quite sure about Millbridge, but that's exciting. You'll be able to run that on the Chili Bowl track and other smaller tracks there on iRacing. I'm thinking about getting iRacing again, just so I can run the Dirt Micro. The Dirt Micro is my bread and butter from back in the day, and would be excited to try that out on the iRacing space. Back to our regular scheduled programming. Let's talk about some sponsorship real quick. JDC, Jake's Dad Carbs. Give them a call, 640-6862 here in the 405 area code for all your micro sprint racing carburetor needs. You can find him at Jake's Dad Carbs. He does a great job. Shout out to my father. Spinebuster brand. Spinebuster has been a longtime supporter of me. They cover wrestling, and whenever I was coming back into the racing scene, they decided to start a racing division over at Spinebuster. So check out Spinebuster brand. They're going to have all kinds of cool things coming into the pipeline, especially in the motorsports source. And finally, Victory Fuel, flavored electrolyte water. Victory Fuel, get all your daily vitamins and electrolytes, plus it's kid-friendly with low sugar, caffeine-free, and no artificial coloring. Yeah, they are clear drinks, which is a big thing right now. Artificial coloring has been proven to, make certain things happen, such as hyperactivity and such. So get you some Victory Fuel. And while you're over there, use code MONSTARPRO for 10% off your total order. We'd love to see those orders coming in. And Victory Fuel, I'm right there with it. What a great product they have. And I should be getting actually a case here, I believe this week. So I need to look at what my tracking is looking like on that. As always, if you want to support the Inside Berm and myself, go to patreon.com/InsideBerm, and you can become one of my patrons. You can get some great things out of it yourself. If you want to support the podcast, you can join the pit crew for $5 a month. Enjoy all the all access pass to my YouTube content, which will be starting next weekend. We'll be starting on the 8th and 9th as I prepare to go down to as I'm heading down to Southern Oklahoma Speedway. We've got some listeners going in. Yes, Justin, contact Victory Fuel, see what they can do for you. Haas, it's good to hear from you listening to while rolling to Indy. Love it. If you decide to be pit reporter, $10 a month, you'll get one extra bonus episode a month, early access to all YouTube, and of course the shout out at the end of the podcast. Love to hear it. $20 a month tier, crew chief. You get early access. You get everything you got on the last one. Plus, every other month, you're going to get a VIP Inside Berm sticker. It's going to be a great sticker. I'm designing the first ones once we get those Patreons rolling in. Let's talk about some stuff that's happening around the local scene. And if there is a race that I'm not calling out, let me know. I will call them out and make sure that they are on the podcast and people know about it. This weekend, Red Dirt Raceway having their 7th annual Spring Nationals, February 29th, March 1st, and March 2nd. I do believe the 29th has been canceled. That was going to be practice night. From what I have seen, it is the Thursday night practice night is canceled. But after their great weekend of micro racing, you're going to see the Oil Capital Racing Sprint Series make their way. 1,500 to win there with the Sport Mods and B Mods, 500 to win on Saturday. Factory stocks will be 400 to win on Saturday. Tuners, 200 to win Saturday. And Turf Tire Micros, $250 to win on Saturday night. There will be a complete show both days, pay both days. And the races start Friday at 6 o'clock and Saturday at 4, plus no entry fees to the drivers. That's a great track. If you haven't hit Red Dirt Raceway, make sure to go down there and see what they're all about. March 9th, opening night, Southern Oklahoma Speedway. The gates open at 5 o'clock. Racing starts at 7. 13 and up are $15. 12 and under are $10. Seniors are $10, and under 5 are free. Pit passes, as always, are $30. Great pricing over at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Always great pricing. Always a great atmosphere as well at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. You're going to have the IMCA Modifieds, the IMCA Stock Cars, and the IMCA Sport Mods, as well as the Southern Oklahoma Speedway Hobby and Factory Stocks and Eco Mods. March 9th, you're not going to want to miss the Southern Oklahoma Speedway. And if you absolutely have to miss it, you can see it all live on imca.tv. And that will be my return to the broadcast booth. I have not been at a racetrack commentating since 2021 now. And I'm very excited about it. Unfortunately, with everything that happened at Monarch Motor Speedway closing, I wasn't able to be behind the mic the last couple of years, but excited to get back at it and get back to where it all really began for me. I mean, I started at Heart of Oklahoma Speedway in 2017 and then moved on to Southern Oklahoma Speedway as a fill-in basis the rest of that year, and then was full time after that. And it was just stupendous. I love working for the Webbs down there, and I can't wait to be back. All right. Now that we've dropped all of that, now that that is all finished, let's talk about some racing. Let's talk about some racing. Our homework is done. Our housekeeping is done. let's start with the ASCS sprint cars. Let's get right there with it. ASCS. So last week, right after we went off air, it kind of broke that Terry Maddox is out at ASCS. It's very unfortunate that he is out, and I hope all is well with Terry. But Terry is out, and things are changing. The Hahns are back under control. Emmett Hahn is back under control, as far as we know, and from all sources are telling, there is talks happening as we speak over the weekend. There are talks that they are in talks with World Racing Group, aka Dirt Car, aka World of Outlaws, to sell the ASCS series, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens there, because it could be a situation where they use it as a support series. It could be a situation where ASCS goes away completely. It could be a situation where it's nothing changes at all. Nothing changes at all besides the owner. I mean, it could just be just that, the 360 series that it's always been, that so many of us have cared about and love. So, we're just kind of waiting. We're just kind of waiting to see what happens. And it's very interesting that a deal I feel that if a deal was going to be made, it would have been made by now. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think we've got a deal made. And so it's just kind of everyone waiting right now. We're just kind of all waiting to see what happens. And that can't be good. That can't be good for the ASCS. That if we're still waiting right now, then that means that we don't have a deal in place. And the longer a deal is not in place, the more cloudy this gets, and the more that we might not have people even show up to the first race if ASCS indeed does run a 2024 tour. It certainly is, as as Oklahoma Tidbits put it, it's a trickle down effect, and you're just going to keep on seeing this affect local racing. We've got guys that had all their equipment ready to go run the full season for ASCS, and now they're just kind of sitting on their thumbs waiting. And that's not good, because, you're going to get people that jump off the tour. You're going to get people that go and commit to something else. And I don't the longer we go, the worse I'm going to feel. And I hope everything gets sorted out here quickly. Justin Condon, can you see it becoming a sports series for 410 Woo and be like the 360 World of Outlaws? I can. And I think if World Racing Group buys ASCS, I think that's going to be the most likely thing that happens, because I just don't see the World of Outlaws buying the ASCS and then just saying, okay, well, no more ASCS. They're in this moment of trying to not just publicly, but kind of behind the scenes, they're trying to put one on the high limits. I think that the high limit series has pissed off some of the people that are behind the World of Outlaws, and I think that's a problem. I think that they're trying to find. I think they're trying to find their all-star tour. The high limits bought the all-star tour. I think that they're trying to make that move that is similar, where you're going to hear them. They're going to dominate the news cycle for a little while, and the World of Outlaws trying to gain some steam on the high limit guys, because that's what this whole offseason was talked about, was the high limit racing series coming into full-time existence and stealing a bunch of major stars. So like I said, I'm very interested to see what happens. I think likely that is what is going to happen. If the WRG by the ASCS, it's going to be a support series. However, at this point, I don't want to say I don't think it's going to happen, but if it was going to happen, I think it would have happened already. And we're to that point where something's going to happen within the next couple days, or nothing's going to happen. And then from there, I think Emmett offloads it to the highest bidder. I would love to see Emmett Hahn continue to run it. I would love to see the Hahn family continue to run it, but I don't know how viable that is. Especially, Emmett is no spring chicken. You wouldn't believe it talking to the guy, but it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Haas, a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes, and I get that. There's a lot here that can happen, and that's just my guesstimation. Is I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that. I don't think World Racing Group is going to buy it. For all we know, they may have already signed the deal, cut the check. We're just waiting for the right time to announce it. But them canceling the very first race, that's not good. It's not a good update. They were supposed to be down in Corpus Christi this weekend. This weekend. I keep forgetting that we're in the last week of February. I see March and I'm like, that's not right. How are we already almost to March in 2024? But canceling the first weekend, it's not great. Not a good look for the ASCS, especially with just no real information out there. And obviously, like, they're not going to want to put everything out there, but there's a lot riding on this. There's a lot of people that announced that they were going full time this year with the ASCS, and now it just might not happen. I don't think that's going to happen, Justin. I don't think that's what Blake wants to do at this point in his career. Blake is just now kind of getting into the 410 market as a full-time driver. And I don't know. Him and his father, Steve, they're over there, really trying to make a go of it in the 410 market. And I don't think Blake really wants anything to do with that as far as the surface level looks. I think he's just wanting to, be a race car driver right now, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Red, what's going on? It's good to hear from you. Glad you're watching. Let's shift gears a little bit. This NASCAR finish. NASCAR had probably the greatest finish in recent memory. This past weekend, 3 wide coming to the finish, and you never see that anymore. And I think it's all has to do with this next gen car. This next gen car can take a lot, and it dishes out a lot, and the equalness of this car has made for some really exciting racing. I am invested in NASCAR again, and this past weekend just really solidified that for me. That the new Atlanta surface, while not perfect, I'm hearing a lot of drivers say it's fun to race these cars again at Atlanta, and they had a lot of fun. And that's what you want to hear. At the end of the day, they're there to do something they love. And Red, this was far from NASCAR. I'll tell you that much. This was one of very exciting races. Daniel Suarez ultimately picking up the win, and just, I mean, by what was it, 0.003? It was intense, and it being 3 wide, you couldn't tell. A lot of people thought it was Blaney. I think we all pretty much knew that Kyle Busch had not really hadn't won it at the line. He was just a little bit farther back, but the fact that they get a photo finish 3 wide for the win, with a guy that needed a win, for a guy that had a very rough 2023 and now has locked himself into the playoffs. I'm excited about that. And it was this new surface, and Justin, I'm going to get to this. This is part of my talking points for the day. A lot of people miss that old worn out surface. If you've ever been to Atlanta, it's surrounded by sand. There's not a lot of dirt. There's not a lot of grass. It's a sandy place. Yeah, it is your bad. It is your bad, and for that, you're gonna get the I got a lot of soundtrack stuff that I can start playing out here, and I'm gonna bring up some soundboard stuff every once in a while. Anyway, this track is still 2 years old as far as that asphalt's going, as far as that surface is going, and it's fast. It's faster than it's ever been. The banking is great, and a lot of guys are saying they like it because it's not quite a 1.5 mile track anymore, but it's not quite a super speedway, and they're having fun racing on it. And so if it's producing finishes like that, then I'm all for it. I do miss the old surface, but guys, the fans were not showing up for the old surface. The old surface, they had empty grandstands. They had a packed house for Sunday night. They had a absolute packed house, and it's all that people have been talking about in the motorsports world this week is how great that photo finish was. It's going to be a moment that race fans, that NASCAR fans are going to think about for a long time. And I saw a really funny meme this weekend, and it was how we had that exciting of a finish, but F1 fans are still going to tell you that Max Verstappen winning by 49 seconds with a 30-second gap in between each race team is going to be more exciting. No, absolutely not. This is one of the greatest endings of a race ever, and it's going to live on forever. And whether or not Daniel Suarez has as much of a career it's yet to be seen, but I would hate for his defining moment in his career to be like Ricky Craven's, where it was all about that finish. And it will be a defining moment, but we'll yet to see if we will get some more out of Daniel Suarez. I absolutely think Texas Motor Speedway needs a reconfiguration like Atlanta. 100%. I will die on this hill if nobody else wants to die on this hill. Texas is a boring racetrack. And I go to Texas because it's a close NASCAR track. I can get tickets for cheap. But it's mostly a, hey, I got to go to a NASCAR race. Texas, and excuse my language, is a dog shit racetrack. Nobody wants to see, just look at it. Just look at the All-Star race. When they brought the All-Star race to Texas, everyone was excited because it's something new and we're getting a new track and a new chance. And it was the worst All-Star race that they've ever had. It was absolutely horrible. Yes, Texas Motor Speedway messed up that racetrack at the last reconfiguration. The last with the banking that they put in, it's become a horrible racetrack. And I want to see. I am willing to say that Texas Motor Speedway should lose at least one of its dates. If it's going to continue to bring racing like that. There is room for improvement. It is a wonderful facility. It's a wonderful facility. Everywhere else around it, great. The dirt track, great. Little dirt track, great. But the NASCAR track, we're on the edge of this being this place needing to go away. And it's always just been a track. I would go to Kansas, Red. If you've never been to a NASCAR race, go to Kansas. That's what I'm saying. Kansas has a really good track. Yeah, Kansas. Justin, I would say go to Kansas too. Are you sure they only have one? I thought they just moved the NASCAR race. They also supposedly are going to have an ASCS race at the dirt track, but we'll see. Yeah, I guess there's only one race this year. So, good. I'm glad they took one of the races away. Because it's one of those, when they go there, it's one of those who gives a shit type of tracks. And I would much rather see another road course put on the track or put on the schedule. I would much rather see another short track put on the schedule than go to Texas twice a year. And that's someone who has been to Texas multiple times, continues to buy tickets to Texas Motor Speedway to go watch racing. And it's simply because NASCAR is close and it's 3 hours away. And it's always been the race that it's the easiest to go to, and it's usually whenever I'm the happiest about NASCAR is when I go to a NASCAR race. I was thinking about going this weekend or going this year. And really, I kind of just want to go because because they're going to have the high limits there the night before. And then thought, well, I can stay and watch some NASCAR the next day. But I'm probably just going to catch the high limit series at Red Dirt and then I will be at Southern Oklahoma Speedway for the high limits in Ardmore. I'll be announcing the hobby stocks there. But that Texas race, the Texas race is April. Let me get that it's April 14th. Yeah, because the high limit are at the dirt track at Texas on the 13th. There's a lot to do that weekend. There's a lot to do. You could be there all week. I mean, you could if the ASCS do in fact get their wheels moving. ASCS is supposed to be there April 5th and 6th. Then you have Micromania at Little Texas Motor Speedway from April 8th to April 11th. Then you got the Craftsman Truck Series Friday night, the Xfinity Series Saturday, I believe, during the day, high limit at night at the Texas Dirt Track. Then you got NASCAR. It's a great weekend. If you want to see a lot of racing, you can go see a lot of racing. If you want to see good asphalt racing, it's not the place to go. But if you want to see a lot of racing, you're going to get to see all three major NASCAR series, plus two major sprint car series, and a huge micro event that I believe is it still put on, co-promoted by Christopher Bell. I'm not for sure. I know Christopher Bell had a lot to do with getting it on, but that Micromania, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, there's an air show there nearby. April is the time to go to Texas Motor Speedway. The next week they've got a big streetcar event called Fuel Fest. There's a lot to do. But I didn't think talking about the NASCAR Atlanta race was going to spill over into this. I mean, we desperately need a reconfiguration at Texas Motor Speedway. KKM, yes, KKM is part of that now. Yes, that's right. I couldn't remember quite off the top of my head, but yes, KKM is part of that. But guys, we're in the thick of it. Racing season has started. Racing season is going, and I'm excited to see how the local series will be. I'm going to be really excited next week. Once we get everything going next week, I'm going to be a pig in slop all week long, just ready to hit Ardmore up and be back there again. I'm doing one last look around on my different sources to see if there's anything changing about the ASCS situation before we go off the air. Once we start really getting into racing season, there's more to watch. This show is probably going to go the full lunch hour. But I'm happy that everyone that has joined us has showed up for the full lunch hour, spending your lunch with me. Chris Walters, no change currently for ASCS. Okay. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, the news hit this time last week. I mean, literally seconds after I got off air, it all kind of went down. And now we're just kind of lying in wait for something else to happen. And let's hit this. I meant to hit this earlier and I forgot. Logan Seavey, champion, ASCS Gulf South Region. Yes, so I did hear this. The ASCS Gulf South Region will be racing this year. even if ASCS is not the sanctioning body, the Gulf South region will have a season, is what I've seen. Let's talk about Logan Seavey real quick. Logan Seavey is going to make his dirt late model debut. Dirt late model debut for Logan Seavey. Apparently, this is something he's been wanting to do for a while, and I am all for this. I love seeing guys crisscross. I would love to see, some of the big late model guys come over to the sprint cars, see what they can do in a sprint car. Logan Seavey will race his first dirt late model event May 8th at Spoon River Speedway. And then, as part of the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America, he'll race May 9th at Lincoln, Illinois Speedway, and then May 12th at Brownstown, Indiana Speedway, all part of the Castrol Flow Racing Series. He will be in that Bragg-owned number 51, Chris Bragg Racing-owned number 51 from Longhorn Chassis and Bilstein Shocks. I'm excited to see what he can do. He was quoted as saying, I've been wanting to do this for years. 2018, 19, and 20 is when I was able to see them in person. I thought they were cool. And then COVID-19 happened, and I ended up racing online and met Mark Richards. And after a few talking with Mark, ended up working out to test the Rocket One racing car at the end of 2022. He says, I don't think I was too terrible. I think if I go down and get a real practice session with everything fitted for me, get some more laps, I think we should show up and be somewhat competitive. This is going to be great. I am really excited to see this all go down. He's going to test April 2nd through the 3rd at Rocket Raceway Park in Petty, Texas. And he says he would like to race roughly 12 to 15 times in the dirt late model this season. And he's making a big run in the non-wing sprint cars. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see Logan Seavey. The sport needs more crossover drivers in general. Absolutely, Red. And I'm so excited to see what he can do in this dirt late model. I would love to see what he can do in a modified. I want to see Kyle Larson race a hobby stock. I want to see some of these guys race anything. And that's what it needs to come down to at the end of the day. I know there are dirt fans. I know there are asphalt fans. There are sprint car fans. There are body fender guys. At the end of the day, I want to see racing. And I'm going to try to see more fender racing this year. I'm going to try to see more sprint car racing. This year is going to be dominated by racing for me, and I'm very excited to get this going. But guys, that's going to be about it for today. Don't forget, hit up Victory Fuel. You can support me directly by using code MONSTARPRO for 10% off at your at checkout. Don't forget, March 9th, opening night at Southern Oklahoma Speedway, Ardmore, Oklahoma. Gates open at 5 o'clock. And then, of course, Red Dirt Raceway, March 1st and 2nd this weekend, the 7th Annual Spring Nationals, 6 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock on Saturday. And I would love to see Davenport in a sprint car. I want to see that so bad. Red, that would be fantastic. But once again, thank you guys for joining me on your lunch today for Inside Berm Weekly. I've got some great stuff. Don't forget to hit up the Patreon at patreon.com/InsideBerm. You'll be able to find my membership tiers, and you'll be able to support me 100% directly. That all goes straight to me, and it helps me get new equipment. And here soon, you'll be seeing Inside Berm sponsored race cars. So with that, I'm going to leave it with this great intro that Landon Bumgarner put together for me with WhiteBatAudio on the music. Guys, thank you again. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.